Hello. Hello, everyone. We are here with Nick Gillespie. We're here with your Reason TV, right?
That's right. Reason.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we agree on a lot of things that government is too large, we need to reduce a lot of rules. Let's talk about the things that we may disagree on.
Okay.
So you happen to think that some regulation on the banks on Wall Street is unnecessary.
Yeah, some of it is. Some of it's fine.
When we had Glass-Steagall from 1933 to 99, we hardly had any banking panics.
That's not quite right. But there were ups and downs and things like that, and Glass-Steagall had nothing to do with the 2008 financial crisis. And recall that after that, in the early 2000s, we had major financial sector reform. Sarbanes-Oxley, et cetera. It didn't do anything because the primary problem was that banks knew, or financial institutions knew, if they got big enough, they would be bailed out. And as a result, that is the problem right there.
Why did the banks lobby to get rid of it in the 90s?
It was a bunch of people because it was a law that was passed during the Great Depression that had no relevance or meaning in a post-communist world. I mean, there are a lot of rules from the 1930s that just don't make sense. I think so. Yeah.
Okay. And so, what would you do then?
Again, the main regulation that you need for the financial sector is that if you mount massive losses, you are stuck with them. That's the main thing, and then there's other things that can be good or bad. There's some kinds of transparency laws, maybe holding certain types of capital reserves, but these are all very difficult to both formulate and enforce. But again, in the end, it's that banks need to know, financial institutions need to know they're responsible for their gains or their losses, and their customers know that, and that'll get us like 90 to 95% of where we need to be.
So, here's what I will agree with you: capitalism is a better system than socialism,
sure.
but
Yeah.
it's not perfect.
Yeah.
This is one of the things. Now, another issue that we may disagree on is immigration.
Okay.
As you know, much of the immigrants we've been getting since the 65 immigration law, which has changed America's demographics.
Right.
A lot of people argue that was good or bad.
Right.
A lot of it was low-skilled. A lot of it were people who were dependent on welfare, do not speak proper English. And, you talk about limited government.
No.
California has changed because of the importation of new voters.
No, I actually think that's wrong. And if you let's put it.
Clark County, we have these casino unions that are immigrants,
but
and
let's
vote for Harry Reid.
Yep. But California was already a leading, welfare state before Mexican immigrants started coming en masse, and ultimately in the 90s and later. So don't blame the welfare state on immigrants, especially if you're going to say, well, illegal immigrants who don't vote anyway. The biggest problem with the welfare state spending is Medicare and Medicaid. And those are not going to immigrants. They're certainly not going to illegal immigrants or Social Security. These are things that are going to, Americans who have lived here and worked here for decades. And that's the problem. We need a smaller safety net because we can't afford the one we have.
What about a merit system that the president?
It's what. Yeah, it varies depending on when he's talking. But I think anybody who wants to come here and is not a violent criminal or doesn't have a communicable disease should basically be able to come here and live and work legally. They should not be able to get welfare. By and large, recent immigrants and illegal immigrants don't get welfare. So they get a little bit of medical care, emergency medical care.
I'm so sorry, but the left view that as a racist.
Yeah, okay.
Have you been ridiculed as that too?
No, I don't know. I don't care. I'm in favor of immigration. I love immigration. My grandparents were immigrants, and they were low skill. Two of them never learned English, and they were great Americans. I don't worry about the big problem with immigration is when immigrants stop coming here.
Well, it depends on the condition of the country. So
Yeah,
one last question.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
How would you grade the president?
It's a real mixed bag. I would give him a C, which is better than, at this point, I would say he's better than Barack Obama or George Bush. Okay. There's a lot of things that he's doing and I think acting in ways that are really despicable, particularly on things like immigration. But on other things, in terms of foreign policy, he's much better than his two predecessors. In terms of deregulation, he's been very good, so.
Yeah, probably the best we've had in decades.
I don't know. Certainly in the 21st century, we've had three presidents. They're all kind of bums. He's probably the best of those three so far.
All right. Well,
all right.
We'll have to discuss that another time.
Okay.
Nick Gillespie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well,